Hello folks, Olin here, running through normal mode Darkness War. Yay! Normal mode Darkness War.
The land itself remembers the past, and memories can be made images. With our magic, harvested from the earth, we can bring those memories forth, live them again, see what our ancestors saw as real as a waking dream. I'm sure those Hollywood types would love to get their hands on this recipe. Sit. Breathe. Raise the anchor of your soul and let your mind drift out into the great ocean. You really do have trouble letting go, don't you? Close your eyes. Your spirit wants this. My voice will be your guide through the memories. Listen to it. Let me be your anchor to this place, and you won't get lost. I'll pull you back when you've seen what there is to see. Don't worry. I've done this before. At least once. Maybe I haven't. My memories are not as vivid as the Earth's. It was back in the days of our forefathers, many lifetimes ago, that our land was invaded by an army of darkness from the distant south.
Fun times. Not that hard, really, especially with an overpowered healer. Woo. Alright. Yeah. An overpowered healer makes a lot of things much simpler, I do have to say. Actually, we ran this before, honestly, but I wasn't really very chatty, didn't really have much to say, so, you know, figured might as well run it again. Everyone else felt like running it again, so, sure. Why not? It's surprising how much simpler this is on. I've actually, so the previous time I ran this was actually the first time I've ever run this this dungeon on normal mode that I can remember. I might have done it like once before. I don't know, but I don't think this is one of the ones where you have to run with a sorry. Got distracted trying to read the gear there. I don't think this is one of the ones where you have to run it as a normal mode. Actually, I'm not even sure there's anything that you have to run as a normal mode. But whatever. The only ones you really have to do, I think, are elites to unlock nightmare modes, and then that's it. So, and there's actually a couple dungeons that don't even have like normal mode versions. So, yeah. That first one's not a bad boss. This one's a little bit more interesting. You know, there's all these little things worshipping the little filth guardian over there. Kill him, then that thing spawns. Then where are we here? Wait a second. So, yeah, it doesn't spawn, it, like, activates, sorry. Terminology. Words are important. But yeah, it activates, then, it has, this mechanic where you, it, like, spews out a cone of filth that persists over the course of the entire fight. So if you take too long fighting it, you'll actually end up with nowhere left to stand. So, probably not going to be the case here. Last time we took care of it before it really had two little filth patches down. But, who knows? Yeah, see, those stay there. And the good tank has to sort of drag the boss around to minimize the amount of damage. So, I kind of like this. I will say that this dungeon has one of my favorite favorite bosses in the game, and I'm not like completely sure why it's my favorite, but I just enjoy the mechanics.
And the Vikings were to build a shield around this island that would keep it safe from our
Hold on.
enemies,
Change my
from those
gear.
who wish to dig into the mountain and unleash the serpent.
Hold on a second. And it is actually this guy up here. This guy is my favorite, and I always get myself on fire there. But yeah, this guy is awesome. I forget his name, but I just find him fun. He's a very mobile boss, if that makes any sense. Obviously, I guess we're waiting. Get to him in a second. But what happens is there's this boss. He summons this big storm that you can't enter, like a little area, and then later on, like when the storm's there, he summons some macabre that you need to fight. But then the next mechanic, there you go. He is the Dark House Sorcerer. But then his next mechanic is actually the fun one. He summons a little storm that you need to sort of stay out of. So like it's the other way around. So like the storm's out here, and you need to stay close. Here, I'll show you. Or well, you'll see. There we go. And then this fun happens. Oh, boo. But yeah, that thing rotates. And usually it rotates anyway. Apparently we're progressing too far. But it'll spin around, and it can knock you back and into the storm. Which usually, if you're DPS and it's a nightmare mode, usually means bad things. Like, you know, you're dying. Something along those lines. But here, with a horribly overpowered healer, not so much. Dresden Codex page. Yes. I'll take that.
Rituals along with those of the Vikings, with every man and every woman standing tall with a weapon in their hands. They
All right.
were ready.
We were ready. We were indeed. Come on. This next one's annoying. I hate this one. Everyone hates this one. It sucks. Get used to it. And it's one of the most buggy encounters I've run into in the game. It's like there might be one that I don't remember quite as well, but this one's just always a buggy mess. It's an Akab boss, which if you've played the game and you know what the Akab are like, you know that's just a losing proposition, just in general. But yeah, this one, you drag the little Akab hatchlings over to the corner. That's usually the preferred mechanic, because they drop they spawn those little blood patches that'll damage you. So you wanna bundle them up in the corner there. Our tank did not do that. In between little phases, this guy will spawn more of those little hatchlings. So again, you can have that whole situation where the whole area is just impossible to stand, right? But sometimes, like, even if you wipe, you come back and the blood patches will still be there. Or my personal favorite, like you saw when it popped up the first time, there was that big explosion of Earth, right? That will knock you back and do damage, right? But sometimes that thing just constantly erupts, which is fun. By fun, I mean horribly not fun, so giant air quotes around it and everything like that. But yeah, it'll just constantly erupt and knock people down and be a huge pain in the ass. But luckily, normal mode, it's a pretty simple fight. Hey, yes, yes, yes. You have a boombox. We know. Come on. Moving on. This one's also a little annoying just because you can't fight him a lot of the times. You'll see. So not only does he do that, he does this thing that he's going to do in a second, where he just completely goes nope and runs up there and does these bombs. Worth mentioning, in like nightmare mode, those things will pretty much one-hit kill DPS geared folks. So yeah, this time, thankfully, you know, it's a learning learning situation. So they're not that bad. But and that always happens. I'll like use anima charge, start the timer, and then he goes nope. He just nopes the heck out of there. But come on down, come on down. Bah! After anima charges wore off, you suck. You suck, Mayan Battle Mage. Like this mechanic, not that hard, especially once you realize that there's some relatively safe spots to hide, like here, for example. See, right here. It's a lot of just going back and forth. So yeah, but once you find that out, it's not that bad. It's just a little bloody freaking. Oh yeah, and he blows things up too with little blood spots. So that's fun. Thankfully, they're not persistent throughout the battle. So there is that. But yeah, for the most part, he's an annoying bugger. I don't like him. No, sir, not one bit. But thankfully, he dies, like all the rest of them. Like all the rest of them. Don't need either of those. Cannot actually equip either of those, so yay, there's that. Moving on.
Continue alone. The forest is flooded with blackness. Blackness wept from the wound in the mountain. I have spoken to the earth.
Hello, guy.
I asked it to guide you across the danger. Walk into its golden light now.
Can do. There are, this next spot that you sort of zoom past. You can go back to this area, which is kind of cool. There's actually some lore back in there, like you'll... Where are we? Come on, yeah. You'll see we just zoom past like Agartha.
The battle was hard.
Yeah.
And the Mayans crept ever closer to the
Okay.
summit, into the gateway, into the hills, the gateway.
There's that guy. Hey, look, that's the sword from Excalibur, right? That the Vikings brought back in the day. That Beaumont was looking for, right?
Craved the poison. They sought it, worshipped it, and for this reason,
that's a good one.
They could not be allowed close.
Hello. Computer. There we go. Oh, they're already... Oh, they're going back this time? What are we up to? What are we up to? Are they going to go back for the lore? Oh, right. Someone... okay. So we're going back to the lore. But someone already went down there. Once you go in, like, past that blue barrier, you can't go back. So here we go. This is what I was talking about. Back Zisave. the bit that we just bypassed, there are a couple of the Guardian-type bosses, or Guardian-type mobs, and 3 pieces of lore. For some reason I missed this one the first time I ran through. But there's that one there, and 2 back over here. I think I am mostly just missing the... Oh, good lord. I was horribly inept. There's like 4 back here. And these are those same mechanics from the dog bosses earlier on. And for a really long time, one of the only ways to get one of the few ways, I should say, to get this this type of enemy fight for the achievements, which took a very long time. What are they called? I think they're called Guardians. Yeah. Yeah, this type. Hey, I'll actually get the first one this time. Yay! Assuming we actually fight this other one over here. But now they've since added, other easier ways to increment that achievement. Most notably, off the top of my head, is the issue 5, Tyler Freeborn. There's one mission there that just spawns a ton of Guardians. Oh no! 2 of them! 2 of them! Oh! Ultimate! Yes, cheating. Cheating, I tell you. Feel free to cheat. It works out nicely. Especially when you pull additional boss level ads. Because, alright, the other lures are back up this way. I actually already grabbed them. But yeah, I think now I'm only actually missing the lore from the start of the mission. So, yay! Alright, moving on. Final boss. Yes. Which is actually a pretty cool fight. It's much more involved in the Nightmare version, obviously, but it's cool, and I always like this little looking into the little anima ether space. I love looking at it every time it pops up. So, come on, come on. Let's just do what we did last time, folks, and we'll be set. Haha. Alright. I have to say, it's very different that no one is running assault rifle. I'm kind of surprised. Like, usually that's sort of a given, you know? People love their assault rifles, which, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the weapon, to be perfectly honest. I don't like the, I don't like all the cast times. I would much rather have, like, a more readily instant attack sort of thing. Well then, now get the fun. Yay! Raw. chimera-ish looking guy. What do we call him? The Hound of the Nameless Days. Which is fun. Come on. Oh. Now they use the breaching shot. Sure. I can live with that. Alright. So, yeah, for this fight, generally speaking, these guys will resurrect themselves a lot. You want to sort of keep them bunched here, because particularly in the Nightmare version, maybe in the Link version too, I'm not really sure, but in the final little stage, they actually resurrect as bombs, and you actually need to set aside a whole, like, at least one DPS. Usually you don't want to do more than that, but you want to set aside one of the DPSs as someone to take care of that for you. Because, yeah, it won't turn out very well otherwise. So, they brought Excalibur. The Varangian, right? Varangian? So, good light. Good light. Worth mentioning, by the way, that the Varangian, like when he uses Astral Facade, it really, really, really buffs all of you. Like, look at that. 300 DPS, 50% protection against damage. Also, the power of Excalibur throws through the Varangian's veins. So, yeah. And he buffs you. Look at that. That is some nice buffs. And further worth mentioning, the Varangian is that, you remember in Polaris, that crazy crab boss guy, right? The guy who, like, pops under the water and then, like, reappears and then runs into the next area, and then, like, does the electricity thing and blah, blah, blah. That's the Varangian. So, yeah, he turns into that crab because of the filth. Fun times. Well, that is the Darkness War. It's a fun dungeon, and one of the ones that historically was farmed by folks on about daily basis. You know, it worked out nicely. I think they've made things a little bit harder in the Nightmare mode. Used to be a trick to bypass, like an aggro switch trick that they theoretically fixed. So I don't see people running it as much anymore. But it's always a fun one, and actually kind of interesting as far as lore goes too, particularly because of the whole telling the story about Excalibur coming to where are we? Leave the group. Yeah, telling the story about Excalibur coming to Solomon Island in the first place, and sort of letting you know about the Varangian and stuff like that. It's some neat background there. Anywho, again, hopefully you enjoyed, folks, and it took me long enough to get to this thing, but finally got there, and now we can progress on with well, now I will feel comfortable pressing on with Egypt. So, yay! Look forward to that. Anywho, till next time, folks. Later.